Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And it is absolutely beautiful outside. It is like a really, really beautiful late summer, early fall day outside. I actually prefer the word autumn, but I always say fall anyway. And I was sitting out on the patio talking on the phone, and then I came inside and I was getting ready to start, and I was talking on the phone, and all of a sudden, there was this huge cat on our patio, and it keeps on coming up on our patio, I think. Look, it comes right up to the window and looks inside. I mean, this thing is like as large as a raccoon. I don't know if it's a neighborhood cat or what. It's like this gray cat. And Boo and Tucker just started going crazy, and but it's going to be a good day. I'm really excited to have a good day today, practicing affirmations. Today is going to be an amazing day, and you know what? If it's not, and I start getting a little bit negative, well, I can start my day over whenever I want. I'm going to start my day over right now, but I am choosing today to have a good day, an amazing day. So I have like 5 meditation books here. I actually did bring my reading glasses. You guys, it is literally 10:06 in the morning, 6 after 10 in the morning. Ever since we have digital clocks, now we say like 10:06 instead of, like 6 after 10. But anyway, what is this out here? It's a squirrel on the tree. I can see the limbs bouncing. I need to put some food on my squirrel table. Excited for the weekend and just to relax. I slept straight through the night. I got like 8 hours of sleep. I was up at 7 o'clock this morning, filming my vlog from last night, which I hadn't filmed, and then I did a review video. I'm filming this, and then I'm going to do a video on my drama channel, and then I'm going to do some other videos. I think I'm going to do another review video today. I think I'm going to go to the library and do a library kind of haul for my BookTube channel. And I've just got all kinds of ideas pumping and going today. So anyway, let's get into, I think it's the 4th today. What is it? Let's see on my phone. I have my phone right here. It is September 4th. So let's get in and read the meditations. I'm going to read from the Daily Book of Positive Quotations first, because most of these meditations are a really good way to like kind of start your day, I like to just sit outside often and just be kind of with the universe and with the day and just kind of be part of all of that. And it really kind of helps my day flow. It slows things down for me where I don't feel as in a rush as if I, wake up and then I'm like, oh, I've got to get this done. I've got to get this done. If I can even take 5 minutes just in the morning or in the afternoon or whenever I get up, to just take 5 minutes and calm down and be, like yesterday I was talking about patience and slowing the day down, my day tends to go much, much better. So I've been doing a little bit of that this morning. I have candles lit all over the place. I have an orange candle, an apple candle, and a lemon candle lit in the kitchen. I have over here, a chestnut candle next to my computer that I've been, because I've been working over there. So it smells so good in here. I had my pumpkin cream cold brew already this morning, and I've been drinking this hibiscus LaCroix. I wish it was going to be warm enough to go to the pool today, but I don't think it actually is. All right, September 4th, continuity. Even if I knew that tomorrow the world would go to pieces, I would still plant my apple tree. Martin Luther. To quietly and peacefully go about our business sometimes requires great courage. When I was a little kid, it was funny because my mom was such a huge lover of Martin Luther King, and I went to a Lutheran church when I was growing up. I went to a church in Indianapolis called Our Redeemer Lutheran, and my dad actually didn't go to that church later, and my mom grew up, when she was growing up, she was Episcopalian, and they were married in an Episcopalian church, but my dad had grown up Lutheran, and so my mom converted and became a Lutheran when they got married, and she continued to go to that church until the day that she passed away. The church is closed down, which is really, really sad, and it was this beautiful church that I went to when I was growing up, and it had these, old school stained glass windows, and it was just a beautiful church, but my parents specifically picked this church because it was in the inner city, and they wanted me to go to a church where I would see a lot of diversity and economic diversity, whatever. So they picked this church specifically because it kind of had people from all over town that went there, and that was like the main reason why they picked this church. And I think back on it, about the things that I actually got from that church. And it's interesting, like all of the people that I met through the years and people that I still see, that I knew from that church. This church that was probably a half an hour from home for us, and But I loved that church when I was growing up. But anyway, the reason I was thinking of that was because, the Lutheran church comes from Martin Luther, and who this quote is from. And so it's interesting to me, like, I don't often think about Martin Luther today, but when I was a kid, I didn't know the difference between Martin Luther King and Martin Luther, and I can remember my mom explaining the difference to me. So anyway, all right, September 4th, continuity. Even if I knew that tomorrow the world would go to pieces, I would still plant my apple tree. Martin Luther. To quietly and peacefully go about our business sometimes requires great courage. Events in the world or in our own lives may make us want to scream and wail, tear our heart out, or beat our heads up against a wall. But we don't do any of those things. We square our shoulders, look straight ahead, and carry out our daily routines. We try to restore normality to what feels like chaos. I admire people who just keep going without bragging or feeling the need to tell everyone about it. I can be one of those people. I love people that have just serenity and grace about them. And there's this woman that I know, I don't even know really how to explain her, but like in the midst of everything, she just seems to have the most amazing response to it. And not to be corny, and say amazing grace, but she really does have such amazing grace about her. There's just a calmness and a stillness about her that comes from within, I've always had a nervous energy about me, I also have ADHD and all, whatever. But like, I've always had just a nervous energy about me that like, I'm very passionate about things just in general. Whenever I get an idea about something, I'm very passionate and driven about it, which I think comes across to other people as like loud and like I always say too much, like people always tell me to be too, like I'm like, they always say you're too much, like quiet down. I've done that. They've done that to me my whole life, which is why I now have merch on my merch store that says Be Too Much on it. So go please check that out. But there was a point where I realized to just kind of accept that, and accept who I was and enjoy that, about myself. And so there's still this piece to me that admires those people that have that about them. And that's something that I aim for, not like on a daily basis, because I like the fact that I'm too much. I like the fact that I'm kind of weird and crazy and eccentric and too much. Like I like that about myself, And what I have found in, let's say, the last 5 to 10 years of my life is that the people that I am attracted to, their energy and their lives, are the people that don't want me to quiet my energy. They're people that are similar to that, or that we complement each other, you know what I mean? The people that are always like this are the people that I don't want to be around anyway. I'm talking more about, I admire it in times of tragedy or like, a great crisis. When somebody's passed away or whatever. I mean, the last thing, to have your emotion is one thing, but the last thing that you need when somebody else is going through tragedy is to become the tragedy yourself, And I think like, my aunt's passing was such a great moment of teaching for me. My cousin and my aunt and everybody had been there for me when my mom passed away. When my aunt passed away, I was allowed to just suit up and show up and be there for my cousin. And, there was a moment, I've actually never shared this on a video before, but whatever. There was a moment when we were standing in line at the funeral home, and it was actually at a church. My aunt's viewing was at her church, and it was literally hundreds of people. And my aunt was very well known in Indianapolis, and she had sat on boards and done all kinds of things, and was president of Junior League here in town. Like the women's league that I joke about on my drama channel is actually kind of like, I did see this woman in the post office one time that reminded me of this, but it comes like, it's a lot about my aunt because she was kind of that person anyway. And so not the gimlets and all of that, but she did drink, but not, anyway, it doesn't matter. But the way that she would talk to her friends on the phone and things like that is very much, that was my aunt. And there was a point where it was literally just like one person after another after another. And it was my cousin and I standing up there. It's my cousin and I. That's all that there's left. So it was my cousin and I standing next to each other. And I looked at my cousin and she kind of like put her hand, like she like grabbed my hand and she was like grabbing it tightly. And I was like, she can't do this for much longer. And I looked at her and I said, Caroline, are you okay? And she goes, I can't do this anymore. And she literally, like with the whole line there, right, of people all the way out in the hallway and outside, she just walked away. Because in that moment, she needed to take care of herself. Well, what was I to do? Walk away, So I just stood there and like, I didn't know half these people. And I just was like, thank you for coming, And it was and I'm not saying this because like pat on your shoulder. It was really, honestly, at, I don't know, 45 years old, one of the first moments in my life that I really adulted and just suited up and showed up. At 45 years old, you know, to sit there and be able to be of service, not only to my cousin, not only to her husband and their family and, you know, my nephew, but to also be of service to my aunt and my uncle, you know, and to just be able to be there, because my uncle, you know, he couldn't stand for that many hours. That was before he had passed away. And, you know, like, I look at that and I realize that in that moment, I don't know where that came from. I don't know if that came from God. I don't know if that came from something I had learned long ago, but I was able to have such grace in that moment, you know? So I have the capacity inside of me. I just don't, you know, it doesn't always come out. And, you know, alcoholics and addicts, especially when we are using, in the middle of tragedy, we tend to make it about ourselves. You know, we talk about the disease of addiction being rooted in selfishness and self-centeredness. So you can imagine, if you've ever been to a funeral before, okay, where there's an alcoholic or an addict present, that person was more affected than anybody else. I mean, it's just a truism, right? Like, back in the day when anything would happen, I'd say, oh, but you don't know how much they meant to me, like, to me, you know? Whatever, probably just jumped off the ottoman. But it's the truth, you know? We're high dramatics and all that kind of stuff, you know? And so, it's always about us. But today, you know, like, having grown past that and developed emotionally, like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to make every moment about me. It doesn't need to be about that. You know what I mean? Like, I can be the person that can be of service to other people, and I can reach down inside and find that grace within myself, you know? And that's one of the tools in my toolbox. Whether I choose to use it or not is another thing. But, like, this woman I always think of, like, in every moment, she always just, I can just see, like, moments where she just, like, came up to me and, like, put her arm around me or sat down next to me, and she just is that person that's just of such grace, you know? And I absolutely adore her. And even when she's having a horrible day, you know, she has a smile on her face, and she'll say, you know, like, it's just not a good day today, but, like, I'll get through this, and, you know, there'll be better days ahead. I mean, she's even just like that, you know? And, like, and I really aspire to be that. In the last couple years, since I've really done some hardcore evaluation and inventory in my life, like, I've really calmed down a lot. Like, my friends notice it. Like, people in my life notice it. They're like, especially Tanya, she'll say, God, you used to always, like, I get in the car and you just be like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. She's like, you know, you're so calm anymore. And there's just something that, there's a slowness about me that I've acquired that I enjoy, not speeding through life anymore, you know, and feeling like it's just a list of things I have to get through in the day. I still make a list every day, but, you know, it's not like I just have to check all these things off and then my day is over. You know, it's like I enjoy the process of the day and the journey of the day more. And I don't feel like there's some rush to get through it. And I just don't, you know, I used to feel that way. And I also really realized that I spent so much time in the past getting really frustrated and like, I worried a lot about things that just don't matter. They really don't. You know, I started kind of doing this scale system a while ago where I was like, you know, like, okay, like, everything for me was between an 8 and a 10. Like, it didn't matter, okay? If my, like, headlight went out or if somebody died. It was all between, like, an 8 and a 10, meaning, like, 10 being the worst that could, like, the worst thing that ever happened to you in your life was a 10. And if it was a great day, it was a 1, right? Everything for me that was horrible was between an 8 and a 10. Like, ask yourself this, right? So if like, a headlight went out, like, I would freak out about it. Like, it would be, like, an 8 or a 9. If, you know, like, my mom passed away, well, that would be a 10, you know? If, I don't know, like, I didn't have enough money to pay a bill, that was an 8 or a 9. You know, everything was between, like, an 8 and a 10. Like, that was how I reacted. I started learning that I don't have to react to things. You know, reaction is like when somebody says something to you and you want to, like, you know, like, hit them because, like, they hit you, you want to hit them back. Responding is when somebody hits you and then you go, ow, which is a reaction, but then you kind of sit on it for a day and then say, let me tell you how that happened. You know, I don't have to react to everything today. I can respond. I can sit on it for a while. I can think about it. I don't have to react right away. That also slowed things down for me, you know? That was kind of the first thing that happened. And then what I realized was headlights aren't 8, 9s, or 10s. Headlights in all reality are 2s, 3s, or 4s, okay? And then I started seeing that my emotional response to things was really skewed. Like, I really... catastrophized, that's probably the appropriate word. I catastrophized things. That everything was just this huge issue. You know, like, even getting ready to go on a vacation was like an 8, 9, or 10. Like, I can't get all this done. You know, it's like... you're going on vacation, enjoy it. You know what I mean? And so I learned to kind of slow things down and not catastrophize them as much. And that's been important for me, you know? So, take life slow, you know, reach down inside, find that grace, don't catastrophize things, and realize that you can like respond instead of react. And I also think, and I haven't talked about this on here a lot, the pause button has been really important for me in my life. Like when something happens, I can hit that big pause button. Like I actually in my head I even kind of see this like big button. I used to have some button around here that said stop on it or something, but I can hit this big pause button that says like pause, you know, and I can just kind of stop things and go, okay, I need to just think about how I want to respond to this. Like anything, not just something that somebody says to me, but like something that happens to me in the world, you know, or even if it's something that's happening in the world that doesn't directly affect me that day, maybe I have a response to that, or maybe it's affecting my life, or maybe I have an emotional response to that, you know. I think many of us, most of us, I think, have emotional responses to world events. And so when those things happen, you know, my mom definitely was that person, that she would watch the news, you know, and like her day would just like, I mean, she was consumed with it, you know. So I think to sit and pause and hit the pause button, you know, and say to myself, I really need to think about this. There's actually, in recovery, there's an 11th step prayer. Let me see if I can find this. Hold on really quick. Because I used to know it by heart, but I don't know it by heart anymore. So I should, but I don't. Let me find the 11th step prayer for you, and I will read it. Hold on a second. Let me get to my prayers. The 11th step prayer, which is about pause. It says this. As we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful and ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer running the show, humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, thy will be done. And I love that prayer, you know. It's kind of like reminding myself that, you know, if you're a spiritual person, you don't have to be, but there's a God and I'm not it, you know. Like, I'm not running the show. I'm just part of the chess game, you know? And I kind of have to be able to go, okay, well, this is how I respond to it. I don't always have to be okay with everything that happens. None of us do, you know? But I realized today I don't have as much control as I thought I did, you know? God, what a wake-up call that was. But, you know, at the same time, it was kind of a relief to realize I just don't have that much control over what's happening in the world, you know? And it's kind of like watching a train go by and you think maybe you should stop it, but you at the same time realize I couldn't, even if I wanted to, what would I do, you know? So you just kind of watch the train go by and you think to yourself, I wonder where it's going, or, you know, wonder what the next train will be like that comes by, or, you know, whatever. I mean, you don't get too consumed. It's not the greatest analogy, but you don't get too consumed, right? You just sit there and you watch it go by and you take in the scenery and you realize, you think more about how that train going by affects you. Maybe I'd like to be on a train. Where would I like to go? You know, maybe I'll get on the next train. Those are the ways that you start thinking about the world and realizing I don't have control of trains. I only have control of myself in response to what I see. So anyway, let me know what you think about all of that. I was going to read these. I brought all these meditation books and I only read one. But it was a good meditation today. So I hope you guys are, I love this plant over here. I just bought this, I have to tell you. And I also bought these plants over here. I don't know if you can see, but like I bought those two over there. Well, you can't see the, oh, they're doing really well. I bought these two succulents. Well, the succulent plant, it has like 2 or 3 in there. And then I bought this palm tree kind of thing over there. So to inspire us for our move to Florida eventually. Anyway, so I love you guys, and I'm becoming very earthy in the house. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.